Tonight we honor a pioneer in criminal justice, an innovator in paper science, a National Geographic explorer, and a builder of communities. This is the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point Alumni Awards.
Good evening and happy homecoming, Pointers.
Welcome to the premiere of the 2021 Alumni Awards.
My name is Laura Gehrman-Rotier, Director of Alumni Relations, Class of 2002.
My name is Nicole Weir, Marketing Communications and Annual Giving Manager for University Advancement, Class of 2014.
We hope you have had a terrific week and weekend of celebrating what it means to be a Pointer. We were so happy to have a mix of in-person and virtual events to allow everyone an opportunity to connect in the way that works best for them. It has been more than a year of firsts on so many levels, and our Pointer family continues to show resilience and grit in coming together, supporting the university, and deepening connections with each other.
Tonight, we will experience another first as we present the 2021 Alumni Awards virtually for everyone to see. For the first time ever, Pointers everywhere can take part in this tradition and share in the celebration.
So if you've never been to an Alumni Awards ceremony event presented virtually as a movie,
well, you're in luck because neither have we. So, what does tonight have in store for us, Laura?
Glad you asked, Nicole. We are here tonight to celebrate the rich tradition and legacy of our alumni family in a presentation we hope is long on fun and short on being long, full of riveting stories of Pointer journeys and void of the ceremonial snooze you might expect from an award show. Nicole and I will be your hosts for the evening, and we will do our best to add a bit of levity along the way.
So grab a snack and your beverage of choice. You've got the best seat in the house, your own.
Well, I guess we don't know if their seats are good, but we hope they are, and if they aren't,
we can't help you, and it's definitely not our fault.
And on that note, it is our privilege to get this party started and introduce Chancellor Thomas Gibson to officially start the show. Chancellor Gibson joined UWSP as its 15th chancellor in January of 2021. Prior to coming to UWSP, he served as Vice President for Student Affairs and Vice Provost at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, where he oversaw the Office of Dean of Students, Greek Life, Residence Life, Diversity, Equity and Inclusion, Student Health, Recreation and Wellness, the Women's Center, Title IX, and Clery Act reporting, to mention a few.
He has held numerous positions to enhance student success and diversity in higher education. He was Associate Vice President of Student Affairs at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. He held several roles at York College, City of University of New York in New York City, including Associate Dean for Student Development. He led academic support services at Queens College, CUNY, and the University of Connecticut at Stamford.
Now at UWSP, he is focused on three key goals: enhancing academic excellence, expanding diversity, equity, and inclusive excellence, and increasing enrollment and growth. Starting during a pandemic, Chancellor Gibson has led the Pointer family with compassion, empathy, and vision since day one. We are grateful for his continued leadership, and we hope you will join us in welcoming him tonight.
Welcome to the 2021 Alumni Awards. It is an honor to be here as we celebrate the accomplishments and impact of those Pointer giants who walk among us. It is a privilege to be a part of this rich tradition during my first year as UWSP's chancellor. The tremendous legacy of our alumni family is not lost on me. Knowing that our distinguished alumnus awards were created in 1969 speaks to the amazing achievements of our Pointer family. Learning about the depth and significant impact that these Pointers have had on our community, state, and nation continues to deepen my admiration for what a special place UWSP is. It fuels my passion as we continue to create and shape the future excellence of this amazing institution, and it's all because of its people. I want to take a moment to thank some of the people that made this possible as well. The Awards Committee of the UWSP Alumni Association Board of Directors is tasked with reviewing and recommending those we honor. I offer my sincere gratitude to this group for the tremendous work they put into this effort. Tonight, we honor 4 accomplished, outstanding pointers for their achievements, their compassion, and their willingness to lead. These alumni have blazed new trails, solved problems on a global scale, and explored and created spaces many couldn't even imagine. They continue to inspire all those around them. Inspiration has been at the forefront of my mind this year as well, as we navigated through the pandemic. Our students of today met challenges with grace and overcame all obstacles with the dignity we know resides within each of us as pointers. On a personal note, my own family was able to make a smooth transition to this community because of the welcoming nature and willingness of all those we have met to go out of their way to invite us in, to help us learn and to share the rich culture of this campus and community. A few highlights from this past year include the many creative ways our students and staff were able to pivot under the circumstances. Research symposiums were held virtually. Theatrical performances were recorded and produced ahead of opening nights, and student groups found new ways to engage via the screen or safely in person. One of our theater students even noted that she was grateful for the opportunity to feel like she was actually in a movie. As we moved through the last school year, we began to see the return of some in-person events. Our Day of Giving held a physically distanced selfie in the sundial, and we were delighted to hold in-person commencement via 6 outdoor ceremonies, a wonderful way to celebrate students for not only their achievements, but for persevering through difficult times. This school year, we returned to campus with purpose. We are shifting our plans as circumstances dictate, doing our best to give students in-person and in-classroom experiences. We are leaning into the 3 imperatives outlined when I joined the university. Through a strategic plan, we are increasing enrollment and growth with efforts like the Pointer Promise Push. This program provides $500 scholarships to students referred here as first-year pointers for fall of next year. We're stepping up our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusive excellence with a willingness to engage in uncomfortable conversations that ensure a safe place for growth. Our Diversity and College Access Office has the goal of flagging existing policies on campus that may be unintentionally creating an unfair playing field for those with different backgrounds. Lastly, we continue to ensure UWSP's academic excellence leads the pack with small classes, outstanding professors, and learning platforms that meet students where they are and the way they learn best. It gives me great pride knowing that our students are among those that not only succeed at UWSP, but thrive far after they leave campus. The alumni we honor tonight discovered their purpose here and have gone on to make their mark on the world because of it. These are alumni who innovate, educate, change their world for the better, and never forget where home is. As the stories of these pointers unfold tonight, I challenge you to dream along with them, celebrate them, and reflect on your own pointer journey and the impact you have had as we continue to come together as one point, one family.
Thank you, Chancellor. Next, we welcome UWSP's Chief of Police, Tony Babel. Tony joined UWSP in 2018 after serving at the City of Stevens Point Police Department since 1993. During his time with the SPPD, he was promoted to sergeant and then named Assistant Chief. He has supervised the Stevens Point Police Records Department, Investigation Bureau, SWAT Team, Community Resources, and Parking Enforcement.
Chief Babel also has a special connection to our first winner, as he received his own degree in criminal justice from UW-Platteville, a campus our first recipient is very familiar with. Please help us welcome Chief Tony Babel.
Thank you, Nicole and Laura. I'm truly happy to be here to introduce our first recipient of the evening, Joe Lomax. Joe's journey is remarkable and full of firsts. He was the first Black police officer in Beloit, Wisconsin, and he created the criminal justice program at UW-Platteville, which happens to be where I received my degree. He also served as a senior training associate at Cornell University. His humility is inspiring, and his leadership is beyond measure. While at UWSP, Joe played football for the Pointers and was part of some of the university's first steps into the world of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Among several achievements, Joe has received the Distinguished Alumni Award from UW-Platteville Black Student Union, and was inducted into the Beloit Memorial High School Hall of Fame in 2016. Let's learn a little more about Joe.
When I was at Stevens Point, I was the only black student who was an American student. I grew up in Beloit. I went to school with persons of predominantly white students, but a number of black students were in there as well, maybe 4%, something like that. I participated in football, wrestling, and track. I managed to letter in all the years that I was there. And so that was a stepping stone for looking for colleges. While I was looking, I found that for education, that Stevens Point was one of the better schools. When I arrived at Stevens Point, sports was an important part of my student life. I felt camaraderie. That's where I felt very comfortable. The sports were something that I looked forward to. I wanted to go into education. I never saw an African American or black teacher when I was coming through the system, and so I didn't have that example. But when I got back to Beloit, I was in need, after those years, I was in need of employment. I went to a number of places for employment, and I actually went back and found out that they had thrown my application away. When I applied for a position with the police in Beloit, the police chief did not want a black officer. It had never happened before that the wife had been summoned to come in and sit through the interview, and my wife was. We found out a few weeks later a new chief was coming in, and so that's when I got the notice that they'd like to talk with me further, and I would become a police officer. I tried to do the best job I could because I knew it would impact those who follow. And so I tried to do everything as close to the book as I could, and do a good job, but also always with the idea of helping the society, helping those persons who I encountered. There are things that are stumbling blocks, and there are things that are stepping stones. And I didn't realize at the time that while I thought it might be a stumbling block, it turned out to be a stepping stone to not only for myself, but also it changed things in the city of Beloit for persons of color. I was first hired as an adjunct instructor at UW-Platteville. And this was, again, another one of those first time for a black person on campus. And I drew quite a bit of attention. Everyone, for some reason, I got into that. Places I went, I drew attention. So it started at about 20 students. I traveled all across the state of Wisconsin, recruiting students to the criminal justice program. I went to talk with the chiefs and sheriffs and directors of programs and try to convince them that gaining an education, as much education as possible, was beneficial. One of the things that helped this program was I created the Career Day, Criminal Justice Career Day, that drew from all over. The first thing I had to do was sell the agencies on internship. I had to convince them of how they would be contributing to the future of law enforcement, of criminal justice, by taking on the students and guiding them, helping them. But some said, well, what do you expect us to do with the females? I'm proud to be able to say that they have exceeded all expectation, and they are in every branch. I can't think of many places that have law enforcement or enforcement or criminal justice responsibilities where our students do not hold a position.
Please join me in congratulating Joe as a 2021 Distinguished Alumnus.
I'd like to thank Chancellor Gibson and all the persons who have contributed to my receiving this award, especially my wife, Catherine, who has encouraged me and supported me, and my children, and those instructors and students who have helped me to gain this award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Your journey is truly incredible and so inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and congratulations again. Following in Joe's footsteps are some truly incredible students in UWSP's own criminal justice program. The Criminal Justice Minor at Point is designed to provide students with the academic background and experiences for a successful career in criminal justice and for graduate work in the field. A minor in criminal justice helps students become police, corrections and parole officers, youth programmers, and counselors, just to name a few.
We invite you to watch and learn about one such student who is on their own path of discovery, following in the footsteps of Joe Lomax.
So my name is Claire Jensen, and I am a junior here at UW-Stevens Point. I have a major in soil and land management and Spanish with a minor in conservation law enforcement. My original plan coming into UW-Stevens Point was to major in conservation law enforcement. I wanted to become a game warden or work with the Forest Service or the National Park Service, something like that, law enforcement based. At the beginning of my sophomore year, I went to Academy over at Mid-State, the police academy, and I was able to meet a lot of really cool people, get a lot of experience and network a ton. And then I got a part-time position over at the Sheriff's Department over at Wood County, and that was just really great experience, getting more hands-on involvement in the community and learning exactly what they do. I'm very involved in the Law Enforcement Association here and just all things associated with that. My end goal was I wanted to work for the DNR and be a game warden or work for the National Park Service or the Forest Service, something like that. I'm not too picky, but a lot of times they want you to start off in general law enforcement first to get some experience. And while I've been doing that, I think it's super cool to hear what all the different alumni going through this program have done with their future. It's kind of a similar path to me, but I think everybody kind of spins it in their own different direction on what they're doing, and some people go into general law enforcement, some people are ending up as game wardens, others are working for the Forest Service or federally or at a state level. So far at UW-Stevens Point, I've really enjoyed my time here. Met a lot of cool people, made a ton of good connections, and have absolutely loved my professors and everything that's happened here so far. The organizations have been great to me, and I'm pretty excited for my future and what's going to become of it.
Incredible. The students today really are so brave and have such amazing grit. It's really inspiring to see. You know, I have to say, being virtual this year is strange, but there are some positives.
Yeah?
Well, in a normal year, you would be running all over doing things for social, backstage takeovers, and trying to ensure our speakers didn't wander off right before they were needed on stage. And I would be going back and forth between being at a table and being backstage while having high anxiety about whether or not anyone's name tag was misspelled. This year, I think I'm most relieved not to have name tags, honestly.
You know, that adds up. And we almost never misspell a name on purpose, unless your name is Brandon.
For those of you who aren't the 9 people who will understand that joke, trust me, it's really funny. Up next, it is my personal joy to introduce Karen Biasca to share a bit more about our second award recipient. Karen has worked at UWSP for over 32 years and has been the chair of the Department of Paper Science and Chemical Engineering since 2013. She's also a friend of mine, so I happen to know she likes fish fries.
I mean, don't we all love a good Wisconsin Friday night fish fry?
Fair point.
Prior to coming to UWSP, Karen worked as a process engineer for Kimberly-Clark. She has her PhD from the Institute of Paper Chemistry and got her undergraduate degree from UCLA. I can assure you that we feel incredibly humbled to share this screen with her this evening. Please help us welcome Dr. Karen Biasca.
Thank you, Laura and Nicole. I'm honored to be here tonight to introduce our second distinguished alumnus, Brent Denniston from the class of 1991. Brent was a student during my first few years on campus, and I was pleased to have him in several classes. He was a pleasure to have in class, studious and smart, with internship experiences in Escanaba, Michigan, and New Bern, North Carolina. After graduating from UWSP, he chose to pursue his master's degree at the Georgia Institute of Technology. Brent's career has taken him on a journey through paper science and beyond that none of us could have imagined when he was a student. Leading global implementation of sustainable packaging solutions at Starbucks and working for industry leaders like Procter & Gamble and PMI Worldwide are just a few of the many amazing things to Brent's credit. Let's take a look at a bit more of Brent's story.
When I was approaching graduation from high school, one of my considerations as I was selecting university was the fact that I was paying my own tuition and board. What Stevens Point offered me was the opportunity to start my university education and commute from home and save some money the first year. So I got into Stevens Point in part money motivated, but when I got into the school, I loved it. And I liked the size of the school. I liked the sense of community there. The proximity to home was great for me. My second year of school, I switched majors from business to paper science, got into the program, and a semester into the program had an opportunity to intern with Weyerhaeuser Paper Company at the time in North Carolina, and I loved it, and I was hooked. I have terrible depth perception, so you won't find me on any kind of coordinated sports venue, basketball, baseball, tennis, anything that involves association of something in distance. It's a bad combination for me. It usually results in embarrassment. But I will say, the one time I actually stepped on the football field at Stevens Point was with a crown on my head. I was a resident assistant in Prey Sims Hall, and two of us on staff were nominated as homecoming king and queen. My last year of school, I was assistant hall director in Baldwin Hall, and that was a co-ed dorm. I carried a lot of those friendships with me there as well. But I think something I've learned about myself all these decades of experiences. I'm kind of wired to work. When I graduated with my master's degree from the Institute, I went and worked for Procter & Gamble. I advanced from what was a technical engineering role in the beginning into process engineering, which is a role where you're responsible for product and process quality. Then I led the Bounty paper towel machine and ultimately the Charmin toilet paper machine. And then I had about 150 people in my organization by the time I left. Interestingly, I had about 5.5 years into my 8 years in California. I was back in my hometown, Wisconsin Rapids, for my brother's wedding. And I was best man, and the maid of honor, my partner in the wedding, kept telling me about this tall, beautiful blonde girlfriend she had who was a chiropractor to the stars, and I need to meet her. She'd be perfect for me. We opted to get engaged, and that was really the catalyst for me to think about leaving Procter & Gamble. And we started up our chiropractic clinic here in the Seattle area while I started to build a long-term career with Starbucks. I had 8 different titles or roles while I was there, and I find it ironic that I started out of engineering school in a technical engineering role and then pivoted into operations. I found I loved operations. I spent a lot of time working with the plant managers and the product folks at Starbucks on packaging improvements and productivity improvements in the roasting plants that were producing Starbucks packaged coffee for use in the stores as well as for sale in grocery. So Starbucks has prided itself, rightly so, in taking a leadership position in many areas of sustainability. Packaging is one of them. Ultimately, when I was in the sourcing role, the focus was on reducing the amount of fiber and increasing the recycled content in the coffee cup sleeves. And then the cup lids moving from a styrene-based plastic to polypropylene, which is just better from an environmental standpoint and a consumer perception standpoint. Focus Point conference, which was sustainability focused, took me back to my paper science ties. And actually, in that event, had an opportunity to reconnect with Dr. Biasca and tour the paper science lab, speak with some of the students in the paper science program. It had been a long time since I'd been on campus, and warmed my heart to be able to do that. At PMI, my current company, we have our own brands. We have our Stanley and our Aladdin brands. They're nearly infinitely reusable and an alternate to single-use disposable cups and food containers. I have an emotional connection to Stanley because it makes me think of my grandpa. He had an old hammer tone green, beat up Stanley thermos. Pretty sure he probably took that to his job with him when he went to work at the mill in Wisconsin Rapids. And so sustainability is core to who PMI is. But in addition to our own brands, Stanley and Aladdin, we have a pretty sizable business with Starbucks. And one of our roles in the Starbucks ecosystem is we design and create and manufacture all of their merchandise in North America and a good bit of their merchandise in Europe and China and the Asia Pacific regions. So if you look at the Starbucks assortments today, all of the merchandise we offer is reusable, all the beverageware, all of the food packaging, and increasingly it includes recycled content. We have an incredibly talented creative and design team. They are really talented, spread between Seattle and San Francisco in the US, but also have design and creative folks in Shanghai. And globally, they make the whole thing work. The outdoor lifestyle is one of our key customer groups that we market to and that brand appeals greatly with. And that's true not only in North America, but around the world. And something we've seen in the last 18 months as we've lived through this pandemic is people are getting outside more. And as they get outside more, good for us, they're buying a lot more Stanley product. We're having a lot of fun with it, carrying forward the legacy of what makes Stanley special and enduring, and at the same time adding some newness to it. Something that I'm really grateful for that I think stems back to that first internship in North Carolina when I was at UWSP is I think that seeded a sense for adventure and wanting to go see the world. And I've gotten to do a lot of that over the last 30 years. And I think it's made my life very rich, but I think the seed was planted when I started my internships in the paper science program at Stevens Point.
Please join me in congratulating Brent as a 2021 Distinguished Alumnus at UWSP.
I want to thank Dr. Biasca and the UWSP Paper Science faculty for their investment in me. I want to thank the employers who gave me internship opportunities during my time at Stevens Point, which gave me a taste for what the work would be like and what kind of life I might live post-school, as well as inspired me to go on to my graduate degree. And I want to thank my family for their encouragement along the way. The foundations UWSP gave me have given me a great foundation that have allowed me to have the career path and the experiences I've enjoyed so much over the last 30 years. And for that, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Wow. Just wow. To think a pointer has impacted an industry leader like Starbucks is pretty incredible.
And the fact that his role was focused on increasing sustainability in the packaging, it doesn't get any more point than that, I don't think.
And the fact that we both drink a ridiculous amount of coffee has nothing to do with him winning this award Scout's honor.
Can confirm. You know, I actually didn't know until I worked here that UWSP has its own paper machine.
Yeah, and it's a pretty incredible experience for our students. They actually make some of the paper that our own fine arts students wind up using. We had the opportunity to talk with one student who got to run the paper machine this past year. Here's a bit more of their story.
My name is Sam Brodhagen. I am a junior here at Point, and I'm double majoring in paper science and chemical engineering. In high school, I took AP Chem, and I really liked the chemistry stuff. I really enjoyed learning it. It was one of the only things I really enjoyed in high school, so I wanted to take a major that kind of had all of that within it. So then I was looking around, and I didn't know that Point had paper science until like the February of my senior year. So then I applied and toured in like March, and then I got accepted and ended up coming here, and I've really enjoyed it so far. Our major's not small, but I like that it's not huge because it really gives you a chance to get to know all the professors and all the students in our major, and it really makes it feel more like a family than just a group of students in a major. It's really cool that the school has a paper machine. It's really nice because it gives you a chance to work with the machine before you go on co-op or internship and work on a machine in a mill. It gives you a really good chance to kind of learn a lot more about it before. So a co-op is a 8 or 9 month internship. You take a semester off of school and you generally do it through the summer. So I did it from the spring semester through the summer, and you get to work in a mill and you have an engineering position, and you kind of do everything that a normal engineer would do as a student. So that really gave me a chance to learn a lot about the stuff that we don't get to learn in school about how an individual mill works. And I got to work a lot with other engineers. A lot of times where people co-op is where they'll end up getting a job offer. I've seen a lot of alumni that go on to be CEOs or do big things in the industry that it's kind of cool to see that they're coming from the same place that we're here right now. Stevens Point, I love it here, and I'm really thankful for all the opportunities that I get through the program, and I'm really excited to see where the future takes me.
Isn't that incredible?
It really is.
Coffee, paper, and historic firsts aren't all that Pointers do, although that's a lot. With us tonight to introduce our next award recipient is a Pointer faculty member who does math, to put it extremely simply. And if there is one thing that Laura and I agree on, it's that math is hard. Cindy McCabe is the Assistant Dean in the SMCPA, which is the School of Math, Computing, Physics, and Astronomy.
Ooh, I know this one. What are classes I could never pass?
Same. While we may not have been able to pass them, we're glad that Cindy did, and we're even more grateful that she's teaching current Pointers the skills to succeed. Cindy holds a PhD in mathematics from the University of Iowa and is known for her work in knot theory. Please help us welcome Cindy McCabe.
Thank you, Nicole and Laura. I am delighted to be here with you to introduce our next award recipient, Corey Jaskolski. Corey graduated from UWSP in 2000. His work has taken him across the globe as he explores treasures like the Titanic on the ocean floor and into spaces not seen by too many human eyes, like King Tut's tomb. He's been a National Geographic Fellow, and his company creates technology that continues to advance the ability of scientists to make new discoveries daily. Let's join Corey's story of discovery.
Stevens Point having smaller classes, I think, was really critical to my college success there because, coming from a rough start in high school, I don't know that I could have gone to a 200-person lecture hall and still felt like I was, engaged and getting the same feedback and encouragement. Greg Taft was a new professor when I started there, and he had just set up this lab called the Femtosecond Laser Lab. Greg, kind of took me under his research wing, and we literally set up that whole laser lab from, things arriving in boxes to a fully functioning laser lab. Ron Locken was the chair of the physics department, and he was sort of in my life, he was sort of a grandfatherly-like figure, always kind, someone that you could, talk about your research goals and what you want to do in grad school. Nancy was the department manager for physics, and she was basically if you can imagine, a den mother for all of the physics students, and we all needed it. We were all like, half Einstein like personalities, like all a little crazy and distracted. So we definitely needed someone to help look after us. I was the president of the physics club, and we did a couple of really cool things at UWSP. So one idea we had was we were going to have a rocket launch, and we were going to bring kids maybe in 3rd, 2nd grade, 4th grade in, and we're going to have them build rockets, and we're going to take the rockets out to the football field, and we're going to launch these rockets and telling them about the physics, why it works, how it works, and I really thought it was cool to be able to expose kids to that. Another really cool outreach project that I started at UWSP, we called it the Near Space Program. And by our calculations, we thought we could get the weather balloon to about 100,000 feet, so about 3 times the cruising altitude of a jet. And in fact, that's so high that if you point the camera straight out, the sky is black, it's not blue anymore. While I was at MIT, I was also working at a brand new startup called Bluefin Robotics. And my role there was building these battery packs that could not need to be put inside big metal pressure vessels. They can handle the pressure of the deep ocean just by themselves. And one day at the company, we get a call from James Cameron, the guy that made the movie Titanic and Avatar. And he said, hey, I heard you guys got these special batteries that can go down to full ocean depth, and we really need those. So end up getting an invite out to the Titanic expedition with James Cameron and his crew as they were filming a documentary called Ghosts of the Abyss. The challenge there is that when you're about 27 and you're 12,500 feet deep on the Titanic running robots around with stuff you built inside of them, it's kind of a bit of a challenge to figure out what to do next with your career to top that. My whole life I've been driven by the problem and then trying to find solutions for it. So I've become very, a lot of my career has been around conservation and wildlife and the like. The Sumatran Rhino Project started for me when National Geographic started a collaboration with the Sumatran Rhino Sanctuary in Indonesia. And the challenge is there's only thought to be maybe 60 or 70 of these rhinos left on Earth, and then the entire species will be gone. One of the reasons that I won the National Geographic Rolex Explorer of the Year Award was we built a system that can look for poachers in Africa and Indonesia and places like that. It's an AI system that doesn't just look for people, but it actually looks for what sort of weapons they're carrying. We're going to be putting that system out in Indonesia, in the jungle, to try to find the other Sumatran rhinos that are still out there in hopes that they can be brought to the sanctuary and have a chance at breeding and keeping the population alive. In Mexico, there is Mayan archaeology and Ice Age animal remains in every single sinkhole we've ever been in. You find a human sacrifice victim's skull, or you find Mayan pottery, or you find an Ice Age bear. It's absolutely amazing. So we came up with these complicated rigs of lighting, and in some cases turntables. We'd put the skull on the turntable and rotate it around as we shot all these images, but it was all on scuba, deep underwater, working in the complete darkness in these caves. The kayak expedition that we did was in Cenote Sagrado. It's the sacred cenote, and it's on the grounds of Chichen Itza, the big Mayan city in Mexico. So we basically built a rig that would hold a sonar, which, think of it like a fancy fish finder. You can see the trees and sticks and logs and everything on the bottom, but it can also, more importantly for us, see cave passages that might be coming off of the cenote, going into deeper, clearer water. Every time we find a new cave, we're like, is this the one that's going to lead under Chichen Itza? In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, it's Garamba National Park. We were working there doing 3D scanning from aircraft to try to both understand the entire landscape of the park, but also see if we could find both animal trails and poacher trails. We were in Galapagos on a Pristine Seas expedition, and one of the tools that I had built for that expedition was a deep water rated 360 camera. So think of it like a camera that can see all around it at the same time. But we coupled that with a National Geographic buoyancy engine. And what a buoyancy engine is it basically can control where it's floating in the water. Another project we did was in Bahamas, where we were actually exploring the caves underneath Bahamas. Being able to use these tools that kids get excited about and engage in kind of gives you that extra little edge that you need to try to help convince people and educate people that these places are worth saving. It's all about finding a problem that isn't solved and trying to find a solution for it. My new business, Synthetic, is right here in downtown Delafield, but we do our work all over the world. with all the family being from this area. And then really as an adult coming back and realizing all that Wisconsin has to offer. Plus, good friendly Midwest people is just a great place to be back to. So we started Synthetic under the idea, what if we could have an AI build the data as well as build the AI, whether it's farm fields that you're looking at, or whether it's airplanes, or whether it's mines or caves, or whatever you might want to find in satellite data. The traditional method is the old human eyeball method. What if we didn't have to go human hand label all this data? What if we could take an AI and teach it to recognize hand labeling effectively and be able to completely do away with that? And that's what we've done. Rolex National Geographic Explorer of the Year Award was really a culmination of all the pieces that I've done over my career. And I think that what it means to me is that it sort of embodies all the little ways I've been able to contribute to these big projects. UWSP gave me a great start.
Please join me in congratulating Corey as a 2021 Distinguished Alumnus at UWSP.
Thank you, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, for honoring me with this award. UWSP gave me the tools that I needed to launch onto my career. Between the small classes where I could really have a chance to engage, the ability to do research as an undergraduate, and the unique sense of community at UWSP, I really felt prepared for my future in grad school, as well as my future exploring the world and trying to build technologies to make a difference. So every expedition that I go on and everything I work on still has a little piece of what I've learned at UWSP in there. So thank you for everything. Thanks for the education. Thanks for the community. And thank you for this award.
I wasn't sure if that would hit near or far. We hope it inspired you wherever you are.
Are you really quoting Titanic right now?
Indeed. Our math and physics students here on campus also do some pretty incredible work that sees them on the cutting edge of technology.
That's right. And we are delighted to showcase the many talents of another current pointer this evening.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Quisler. I'm a senior graduating this semester, and I am majoring in physics. My minors are applied math, astronomy, and natural science. I like just integrating math into real-world problems and seeing how everything can be explained with physics on some level, and how it also connects with astronomy. I did 3 semesters of research on quasars and how their spectroscopy relates to their orientation and the relationships that devolve between the two. It was so cool that I got to do this research with the university for my physics major and have it applied towards my major. And it also got me the opportunity to get a scholarship from NASA, which was a huge help. I never expected that going to UWSP and doing astronomy research would lead to a partnership with NASA. That blew my mind and my family's. I was president of Math Club last year, and that was a great time. We would go on trips to math conferences. I also would go to Physics Club as well. And then as well, we have a little physics lounge for us physics majors, where we all just kind of help each other with our work and get to know each other. Dr. McCabe, I've had her for a professor for Calc 1 while I was in high school, and then she was also our advisor for Math Club. She inspired me to do more math classes and integrate math with physics and medicine. When I graduate, I hope to go into grad school for medical physics, where I can then work in a hospital. I think it was cool that someone who went to the university here and took physics went on to do something amazing for National Geographic. And it's amazing that he used his physics major to make a difference in the world. I had such a great time doing research and also being the math club president at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. And I'm excited for what happens next in my life.
I feel like I continue to reaffirm that math is hard the more we talk about our amazing students and alumni in this area.
Right?
Our final introduction tonight is being made by someone that Nicole and I had to do rock, paper, scissors to decide which of us would introduce, because he's our boss.
I'm actually still not clear on if I won or I lost. Chris Richards, Vice Chancellor for University Advancement and Executive Director for the UWSP Foundation, grew up in Stevens Point, attended UWSP, and worked at UW-Madison before returning to his alma mater in late 2012.
Please help us welcome a Pointer through and through, Vice Chancellor Chris Richards.
Thank you both for the wonderful event you've put together tonight. When I think about our final award recipient, the words grace and strength come to mind. Receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, Pam Jewell leads Blinker Companies. Known as the Queen at her company, Pam's leadership has seen her win a plethora of awards across the construction spectrum. Pam also serves in her community in an astounding number of ways. I had the good fortune to work with Pam during her tenure as UWSP Foundation Board President. Her leadership defined what it means to be a servant leader. She also underscored what it means to be a Pointer, as her academic journey included a few decades between semesters to build a business and raise a family before receiving her degree in 2014. Perseverance is in her heart, and we're lucky her heart is with UWSP. Let's learn more about Pam's journey.
We started our business, Blinker Construction, in Amherst in 1974. It wasn't called flipping then, but we would buy homes for $3,800 and redo them and sell them or rent them to students. So that was how we started our little business. And then we started getting customers to design homes, and we just kept going on to different things. I can drive through Amherst and I can see the first spec home that we ever built and the many homes that we built after that. The grocery store is one that we built, the doctor's office. We have apartments that we built. We built the car wash. It's kind of driving through town is driving through my life at work. The brewery that came to Amherst, Central Waters Brewery, came. I think we're on their 11th edition now. And we've always tried different ways of construction because we believe there's more than one way to skin a cat. In 2004, we built our manufacturing facility for panelization in Amherst. Panelization is building the walls of the home. Everything is computer-driven that we do. The computers tell the saws what to cut. They tell everyone how to assemble it. The walls are assembled in the plant, and within a week you have a house. Everything is very technologically inclined in the building industry. My first semester at UWSP came in 1969, which I hate to even say more than 50 years ago. I came as a clothing construction major, which no longer exists, but I loved the designing part of it. When I went back, I went for interior. It was called interior design the first time I went back, and they had drafting programs. Of course, everything was done by hand. So I learned to do that, and our first homes were all drawn on a drafting board. CADSoft came out with Envisioneer that draws actually in 3D. So as you're drawing, you're literally drawing the walls, you're drawing the roof, you're drawing everything that goes into a home, and I love that program. As a builder, I don't have the luxury of picking one design because our clients are all very different. I tell them, I'm building the home of your dreams. I have the home of my dreams. It has everything in it that I could want, so let me help you. And as we learn more about the client, We will put together either a storyboard or we will put together items that we can show them that we think may work for them. And it's our job to talk to them, find out what they want, and then bring them those items that we feel would most work with their project. I have found that if you know what you're talking about and you can back it up, you are very quickly assimilated into your environment. I guess I have always been one of the guys. When I am at work and when I am on the job, I am not my husband's wife. I am not someone's mother. I am another work person. I became the first woman president of my local Builders Association after I had started several committees. Eventually, I became the president of the Wisconsin Builders Association. And in 2018, I received the Builder of the Year for the state of Wisconsin Builders Association, which is beyond my professional goal in life. I have been president of many, many associations. As soon as someone presents something to me, I am immediately trying to figure out how can this be better? How can this work better? How can I help to do this? I hope I left them better than what they were. The UWSP Capital Campaign was fantastic. I learned what dedication and passion for your career can lead to and show me how I could help other students at the university. Everybody just came on board and gave, and now we've just added the help for the new admissions building that just opened on campus. I was proud to be a contributor to that. I look at how far the university has come, not just in my tenure, but since I started as a student all those years ago. It's phenomenal. I'm glad to see that the university campus has grown. UWSP is more visible than it ever was.
Please join me in congratulating Pam Jewell as UWSP's 2021 Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
What an honor it has been for me to be nominated and chosen for the UWSP Lifetime Achievement Award. When I was a young girl, I used to watch the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Little would I know that it would become my life in living through the university and through my family and the things that I have accomplished. I have been honored and thrilled to also receive the Outstanding Alumnus Award from UWSP. Just don't ask me what year that was. I enjoy walking around campus and returning to campus. As a student, I went back as a non-traditional student several times and became friends and with angel professors, Shirley Randall, Lynn Johnson, and after that, when I became a member of the foundation board, I also got to know and enjoy the deans, Joan North, Jeff Moran, Chris Sermo. Of all the things I could not have accomplished in my life had it not been for my special angel, Peter, my husband of just about 50 years this year. Here's to another 50 more. And my other angels, the professors, my family, the friends, my children, they have all been angels who have helped me along the way. Thank you for the UWSP Lifetime Achievement Award. It means the world to me.
Just awe-inspiring. We actually interviewed Pam on Coffee with Alumni and Friends a few months back, and she shared that she used to ride a Harley.
If you haven't watched Coffee with Alumni and Friends yet, you can head to our website or on Facebook later to catch up on other inspiring stories from pointers around the world, as well as our one-of-a-kind humor. You just have to click on Alumni on the UWSP website and you can find it from there.
Speaking of inspiring stories, I understand we have one last amazing student feature on deck?
We do. Our interior architecture students continue to work on projects during their time on campus that impact the local community while they develop their skills. Let's see what that looks like in action.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Masson. I'm graduating in December and my major is interior architecture. So I grew up in Lake Mills, Wisconsin, which is really close to Madison. And then I went to La Crosse for 2 years, and then once I decided my major was going to be interior architecture, I decided to transfer to University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. I was really intrigued by the major interior architecture. It was one of the few campuses that offered it. So when you first start, we did a lot of the fundamental class where we learned about the elements of design. So then towards your last year here, you do more bigger projects, so you'll have studio classes. For the whole semester, you're just working on one project, and there's different phases of it that you go through. So our last semester here, we get to make a portfolio. We've made one for our sophomore year. We have a portfolio review. But for our last year here, we get to make a final portfolio that would be used for interviews and for applying for jobs. So I'm excited to dive into that and have all of my work throughout the years at Stevens Point put together. I want to work for the commercial design industry and do hospitality, so I'd be working with hotels. And then another dream of mine would be to help third world countries develop more sustainably through interior architecture. I feel like all of my professors, each one has a little bit of something that inspired me. One of my professors inspired me with lighting, and one was always about every detail has to be perfect. Your attention to detail, if the measurement was 1/8 off in scale, it would be awful. So it's just those little things that each professor has instilled in you really makes a difference. So I was the president of ASID, our student chapter, for last year and a little bit, and then I was the president-elect before that. And then I also have been president of the Illuminating Engineering Society on campus for, I want to say, 2 to 3 years now. It's really inspiring to see a woman go out of her comfort zone and go into construction and work that in with her interior architecture degree. I think that's really bold and very inspiring to see women going out there and taking new steps. I'm proud to be a Pointer, and I can't wait to graduate and see what career path opens up for me.
This has been quite an amazing night. Our first ever Alumni Award show premiere, and I have to say, it's been an outstanding, one-of-a-kind experience.
I wholeheartedly agree, Laura. Well, we're sad to see our evening start to come to a close. They say that all good things must end. That is the right saying, right?
You got that one, Nicole.
To close out our evening, we would like to welcome Chancellor Gibson back to the stage for a special toast.
Thank you, ladies. When I think about the example these alumni set in their professional lives, I am struck by how they mirror the imperatives we are focusing on at UW-Stevens Point. Academic excellence, enrollment and growth, expanding diversity, equity, and inclusive excellence. I'm also struck by our current students at UWSP. Every day I encounter students who embody these imperatives. They are living academic excellence. They are pursuing ways to be more inclusive. They are encouraging the next generation of Pointers to come to campus through their community outreach. And as they return to their own communities and talk about the life-changing experience they had at UWSP, these students parallel our alumni in many ways. Their innovative spirit, their entrepreneurial pursuits, and their willingness to accept challenges, think critically, and come up with creative solutions are among the laudable traits that bind together our current students with the alumni that preceded them on campus. Tonight, I offer a toast to each of you, to the Pointer family, and to each of our 2021 Alumni Award recipients. A moment of reflection on a journey we've taken together, a recognition of accomplishments, of the support of many who get us through each day, and of the gratitude we all feel for UW-Stevens Point. This is the place, and these are its people. Together, we create the fabric of UW-Stevens Point. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. And thank you, Pointer Nation, for going on this journey with us this evening. We hope you had a good time and enjoyed this one-of-a-kind event.
Now, what would a good movie be without some outtakes? Make sure you stay tuned after, and maybe even during the credits. We've put together a few clips for your enjoyment.
Happy homecoming, Pointers!
How do you say it again?
Don't you just want to yell, pivot, every time you hear anyone say it?
Could I want to yell pivot any more desperately?
Wait, aren't we sponsored by Jurassic Park?
No, that was on Let's Get Cooking Pointers. I forgot to wear my apron one time. Are you ever gonna let that go?
Nope. Tonight's show is being sponsored by...
Wait, we didn't do sponsors this year.
Well, drat.
But people can still make a gift though. We can put the giving link up on the screen in post-production for anyone that would like to make a gift online. Jabberwocky.
It's Jaskolski, Nicole.
Jaskolski. Jaskolski?